Dope.
Hey, well, welcome back to, hey, what are we calling this? It's Wednesday. I mean, are we going to call this, since it's Passion, are we going to call it the Passion Podcast? Like, if you had a name.
There might be some
Passion.
Trademarks in there.
Trademark, but that
Copyright.
Trademark. Well, I don't know that, yeah. Anybody got any thought of what we call this?
Drop your suggestions in the comments.
Yeah.
That's why would we call it drop your suggestions in the...
No. I'm asking the
Oh,
the
you're
people
asking
to
them to
submit.
I was like, well, why would they do that? Yeah, you could. Now, where will they be able? Where all will they be able to comment? Like down below? Like, do we need to say like, hey, comment down below?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're on YouTube, it'd probably be to the side.
To the side, this
But
side.
I don't know. I don't know which way it's gonna format whenever you load it in.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
hey, look, we're just glad that you're here. And
Welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back. Hey, weather's still good outside,
It's
right?
been a great week.
Hey, look,
We're
you
all
know,
wearing the same
this
clothes.
reminds me, I'm going to give a little tidbit about my history. I'm going to give this fun fact that y'all didn't know. Did y'all know that I used to be a disc jockey?
A what?
A disc jockey, a radio announcer. Yeah, in high school. And so I worked for this Christian radio station, and they would they would hire younger people, and we would go on, and I got the night shift and at different times. But I can remember we had this one guy that he was very literal, very literal, and so you would have music and like preaching things, and then you would have these breaks, and you would come in and you would read AP News and
Yeah.
even weather. And so he had forgotten to get the weather, and you had a little switch that you could mute. And I can remember we were there, and I can't remember if it was me or my brother actually worked for the station and some friends, and he forgot the weather, so he muted it. Of course, you know, people can't see you like they can't hear. And he said, hey, what's the weather? And one of the guys said, there's no weather today. And he flipped it back up and said, well, welcome back, folks. And I hate to tell you, there is no weather today, but tomorrow
Any weather
we
at
will
all.
have weather. And so anyway, I don't know if that's really beneficial for anything, but it made
Hey,
me feel good.
I'm still stuck on Jamin on the late night shift of the radio.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. It's 11 p.m. here in the
No,
studio.
that would be you. That would be you. Like, by the way, do you I've got an app that has, I don't know if y'all have heard Robert Smith, the preacher from Beeson, but he's got a very deep, rich voice, and I love. There's certain people like when they read, it's just like you could listen forever. And then I feel like sometimes with my voice, it just grates on you. Yeah, I don't know. It's just I wish I had the golden voice like you do, Nathan.
You don't have a bad voice. It's a good voice.
Okay, hey, thank you.
It's a good one.
You're up for a raise this year. All right. So
We
anyway,
hear it every Sunday. I don't think it's.
We haven't left yet.
oh, she followed up with, I don't think it is. She said, well, we hear it every Sunday. Like we're used to it. But anyway, hey, it's Wednesday, not only here, but we're looking at Wednesday of the Passion Week, and we're going to take a little bit of time to talk about kind of what's going on. Jesus is still teaching in the temple, and of course, we know the plot begins with the Sanhedrin to kill Jesus, and we're going to look at a couple of verses, but really kind of Mark 14, 1 and 2. I'm going to read those as we kind of jump into it and just share some thoughts. In verse 1 of Mark chapter 14, we read, It was now 2 days before the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread. And the chief priests and the scribes were seeking how to arrest him by stealth and kill him, for they said, not during the feast, lest there be an uproar from the people. And of course, we know that then it goes into the next little bit of his encounter with the woman that anoints him there. And man, what a great story that is. But what jumps out at you guys, or maybe thoughts that you would like to share today as we dive into this?
I think, when we hear him, he's continuing teaching all this time, even though he knows what's to come, which is, to me, just how he just continues to do ministry
Yeah.
throughout is wonderful. But also just the plotting of the Sanhedrin, just that they didn't want anything to look bad. They didn't want blemishes
Yeah.
for it to look bad. And that's sometimes, how evil works. It wants to be behind the scenes and in the dark and stuff, and we have to be careful. I think we can take away from that to be careful that we don't fall into things that are being worked on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think it's kind of scary when you think about it, how evil does work.
Yeah.
And also just, I know Jesus even in John chapter 3, when he's talking to Nicodemus, he even talks about how the evil will happen in the dark, that evil does not want to be in the light, doesn't want to be shown. And so that's just a good takeaway and reminder for all of us to be careful of that.
And it's interesting to think, like, even looking towards the Garden of Gethsemane, when Judas betrays him and they come into the night, and Jesus even says, like, hey, I've been with y'all, all week in the temple, and you haven't come up to me, but now that it's nighttime, you come. And I agree, like, the enemy likes to work in darkness. He likes to work when there's not a lot of people around. And I even think, like, applying it to our own lives, the enemy loves to single us out, kind of make you feel isolated. I don't know, like, especially for me, like, transitioning to this job, like, sometimes, full-time ministry, a lot of people don't understand until you're in it. For years, I would always watch, Jamin do it, and I didn't.
Work my 1 day a week.
Yeah.
You made it real easy.
Fishing and golf 5 other days a week. But yeah, like,
That's a joke. by the way.
yeah. But like, sometimes when you get in it, it's real messy, and the enemy likes to kind of isolate you and make you feel like you're not making an impact, you're not doing anything, you're not making a difference. And that's, for me in my life, I've had to wrestle with that of the enemy likes to get me alone and, like, try to infiltrate my mind of, like, hey, you're not really doing anything, like, you're not accomplishing anything. And that's what we see in this passage, is they are trying to meet as a group in the dark, and they're deceiving and formulating a plot. So I don't know, it's like what you said, we need to be aware, we need to be open-minded, and understand that the enemy is a roaring lion, and he is to seek and destroy us, and he likes to do it in the dark.
It's so interesting to think about. Like, they were looking for a cunning way to arrest him, to kill him, because he was this threat to their very regimented idea of what success was, and
Yeah.
we can even fall into that, thinking of Jesus. Sometimes he's an interruption to our life. A lot of times he is, and sometimes we're trying to figure out every way we can to make our regular life work and not let Jesus interrupt us. And when we will get in the way of God when we're doing that, we need to be open to what he's calling us to do, even when it's uncomfortable. So.
Something that's always jumped out at me, and y'all talked about it, but you see them plotting against Jesus, but he doesn't fight the darkness. He shines light.
Right.
Yeah.
Because, like, those next few verses all the way down through verse 9 is his encounter with this woman. John's kind of says Mary, the sister to Martha, there in John's account. It just doesn't give her name here in Mark, but it goes down and she comes to anoint his feet, and they are mad because she's spending her ointment, which was a lot of money. I mean, it was of great value to her, and she breaks it, and she has more faith than any of them, because she knows that the custom is to go 3 days after burial and anoint the body of Jesus. But she's like, I'm going to anoint you now because you're not going to be there. And so he comes down in verse 8 and says, he tells them to leave her alone. She has done what she could. And so this time of they're plotting to kill him, they're coming against him and what he's doing. What is he doing? He's impacting a life for eternity. I mean, he sees an opportunity, and I think that's, with what y'all were saying, it's just an encouragement to us, because there are times that we get frustrated. We even talked about this in staff meeting last week, a little bit of don't be weary in well-doing. Scripture says, for in due season you shall reap if you faint not. And sometimes, I want to encourage you this morning, you might get weary in doing well. You might feel like, man, I'm trying to live a way that's faithful to my family. It doesn't seem like they're pursuing. Because there's times our family, they disappoint us. Maybe you're trying to be an example to a particular friend or a group of people, maybe at work, and you feel like, man, it's all coming upon me. But, a missionary from Ecuador that I've known for several years, Steve Thompson, he always would say this, and it would stick out to me. He said, if you spend your life fighting the darkness, at the end of the day, you're going to be frustrated, disappointed, and discouragement. But if you shine the light, you will experience life as Jesus did. And so I think it's an encouragement to us, is even though these people were plotting to get him, even though he knew what was going to happen, he was shining light in the midst of all of the turmoil of this week. Yeah,
makes you think about what you talked about Sunday with Peter cutting Malchus's ear off, and Jesus says, no, stop this. This is not, the kids' Bible we read with Haven says, this is not the way, this is not what I'm here to do. And then he heals him, it's just like so different than what any of us would do. Yeah. Jesus was always thinking about, like you said, he wasn't trying to stop the darkness. Yeah. He knew this was the will of God. Yeah. That, he had to die. And then what is it the high priest brings up? He's like, it's better that one man should die for the people. And he was actually prophesying about Jesus, and that's what was going on. So.
What a phenomenal encouragement. I mean, it's, once again, man, what a Savior we have in Jesus Christ, and how much he loves us. And so, hey, it's an encouragement today. It's whatever you're facing, whatever you're going through, don't give up and don't quit, and realize, an old, I don't know if you'd call it a hymn or a sing-along, but the song, It Will Be Worth It All when we see Jesus. And he's paid the price. That's what we celebrate this week, how he came and he literally bore the wrath of God on the cross for us so that we could be declared righteous before holy God. So live in that today. And as you reflect, man, I encourage you to maybe read through the passages here and Mark chapter 14 or one of the other Gospels, one of the part that they share. And man, we will see you back tomorrow on Thursday. I hope it's been an encouragement. You can comment below, to the side, above, wherever there's comments, or you can just talk to the TV. And if you need to scream out, that will be good as well. And I don't know, tomorrow, can we add in something besides the weather, like maybe have another update, like hey, it is real.
Maybe traffic.
Yeah. Traffic. That would be, because there's the first car I've seen go by.
It's pretty moderate today.
Yeah, it's crazy here.
We'll see what it is tomorrow.
It's crazy here in the suburb of Trinity. Traffic is bumping.
Trinity Mountain Traffic.
That's right.
Is that our radio name?
Yeah,
Trinity Mountain Podcast.
Trinity Mountain Podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Is this a podcast?
I don't know. Anyway, I know y'all are like, can I leave now? Or some of you have already left and we're just talking to ourselves. Hey. Either way, we're having a good time.
We got each other.
We hope you have a blessed day. Love you guys. Let us come alongside of you if we can help in any way. And we'll see you tomorrow.